Hello, welcome to Introverted Indies. I'm here with Stephanie Lee, and we're here to talk about her book, A Taste of Red. So, Stephanie, would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your book?
Sure. So I'm an indie author from North Carolina, the United States, and I've been writing for self-published for 3.5 years. My first book took me like 12 years to write, and I started out doing dark romance. And for the past, I don't know, until at least 2026, early 2026, I'm focusing solely on sapphic romantasy and queer romantasy. So this is A Taste of Red is my newest book, and it's the first in a series of standalones. Though this one will have a companion, like a little smaller version, side character, but this can still be read as a standalone. You're not missing anything. I just had a reader that was like, "Oh, I want to know a little bit more about this character and her story," and I was like, "Okay, I'll write a couple chapters," and it turned into an entire book. So it's a little thin. This one, this one's pretty thick, but
Yeah.
so A Taste of Red is basically the series is called Magic Malice, and they are fairy tale retellings. So A Taste of Red is Little Red Riding Hood. So you have like the Alpha Wolf's granddaughter, and then you have I've named like a whole section of people Reds. That's their title, but they're formerly magical people, and the wolves have committed genocide and killed off all the magic. Like their red hair indicative that they carry magic, so they killed off all the redheads. It's this whole thing what they think the reds did something terrible to them and hurt one of the alpha wolves or killed one of the alpha wolves, and it's like a whole revenge sort of situation. So that's what I did, and the second one, the second full length standalone, I'm almost halfway done writing now, and it's going to be based off of Sleeping Beauty, but it's going to be like fae and things like that. So it's loosely based off of, but so like little snippets in there that are familiar.
So, all your other books, sort of fairy tale retellings. I know that's quite like a big genre at the moment. There's lots of really awesome ones out there. Is that something that you particularly enjoy, or is it just this series of books that are the fairy tale type books?
I'm kind of all over the place. I see something and I'm like, oh, I really want to do that. So there's this creator on TikTok, Books, Dogs, and Coffee is their name. And they posted this cosplay of like these women doing Little Red Riding Hood, and the one was the wolf, like stalking the cute girl. And I was like, oh, I like that. And they were like, does anybody have book recs? And I was like, I looked in the comments, nobody had book recs, and I'm
Really
gonna
cool.
write I'm gonna write it. So I did. But so this is my only romantasy. I do dark romance. I have like a Saint Nick and Krampus retail short. I do short, really, really spicy BDSM club. I have a series of that. I'm just kind of all over the place. I've just been trying to focus more on this, so my readers know what to expect from me for the next little bit, and then I'll flip on to something else. Like I fancy. I think I want to do dark again, but I'm not
Yeah.
100%. I do want to try like murder mystery type stuff too, because I really like that, but I'll have to have to use a different pen name.
Yeah, no, I'm of the same. So I've written some fantasy and sci-fi, but I've written a crime novel as well, which I'm going to put under another pen name. So I always feel like they're such like different genres. You kind of need to have a different identity almost for crime as to fantasy. It's just they feel like
Mm-hmm.
worlds apart. So yeah,
Yeah.
at the moment that's what I'm working on a crime sort of thing. But so you say you've been self-published for 3 years. What books do you find of yours that are the sort of the bestsellers? What are the things that people want most?
This has been the best seller
Yeah.
so far. Like in such a short time period. Like I might have more reviews on. Let me see if I got it. Let's see this one right here. This is my spicy BDSM series. These are ebooks, but I put them in and two of them are audiobooks. I put them in a compilation paperback. But the first one of that has the most reviews, but it's been out longer, and it's a very quick, like 40 pages.
Yeah.
Um, but A Taste of Red has been the best quick seller so far. Um, and I've gotten the most reviews on it in a very short time period so far too. So I can't complain about that. It was a more of an investment than like financially than the other ones. Like I did the covers of all my other books with some help from one of my friends who's an
Hmm.
author, and she's like tweaking my designs and stuff. And I formatted the interiors of all my other books. And for Red, I got a professional cover designer and I got a professional map maker, and then I did my own interior formatting still. So I think the just looking at it visually, it's a little bit more eye catching than the others.
Yeah, no,
Not that not that you can't make your own, but it's a different genre. It was hard for me. I couldn't figure out how to make something myself that
mhm.
would like fit. So I was like, no, we're going to let a professional do this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sometimes it is good to invest in the professional, though. As indie authors, it's the cost, isn't it? I think that's the thing that holds a lot of people back. Is
Mm.
it's editing, it's covers, it's formatting, it's all those things. And it adds up, doesn't it? It's a big outlay. So you say you're working on a second book in the series. Do you have anything else on the go? Any other projects?
That's what I'm just focusing on right now. I have the point five to this is done.
Hmm.
Uh, it'll be out like I don't know, late June. I got to get my cover designer's just going to redesign the original cover, new title, new color, and since it's part of that, and still have like the wolf on the front, she's just going to
Hmm.
change the title. So that one's done. I do have a kind of like I don't know what you call it, urban fantasy. Basically, I was going to put this Medusa retelling in an anthology. The anthology fell through. I still have it. It was only supposed to be like 10,000 words. She's like, I don't know, 50,000 words. Couldn't control myself. I have a problem. um, so that one, I basically have taken like the lineage and the bloodline of Medusa and made it modern. And since, and it's set in New Orleans, so you've got like witches and things like that. Instead of God, the gods are still a thing, but they don't put themselves out there as gods. They're witches because that's
Hmm.
more of like an acceptable thing. And, you know, New Orleans is really cool with the witches and stuff. Anyways, I was like, I want to do something like that, but how can I make Greek gods witches? I'm just gonna do it. So I've done that. Hermes, non-binary, and it's a polyamorous relationship. So that one was fun. I enjoyed that one. Lots of violence.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stories in all the myths and legends and things, and lots of I think forgotten characters that you could tell a whole story for, which it gives you a breadth of sort of things to look into. So, what is your favorite sort of fairy tale retelling Greek myth? Do you have a favorite or one that you'd like to write?
um, I really feel like Hera, like when you
Hmm.
come to I feel like I left the Medusa book open at the end because I really want to write Hera is like a bad guy. Like everybody sees Hera like as she's written as she's a possession, but she had
Hmm.
her is where she was just revengey and jealous and all that. So I want to expand on that and just make her like the star of the
Yeah.
second one. That's on my mind to do. And for like fairy tales, my third book is gonna be like uh I don't even know if I should. Well, we'll say it. It's gonna be a Rumpelstiltskin, but I got to figure out a name because Rumpelstiltskin is not sexy, and we're not using the same names. That's not
It's a mouthful, isn't it? Yeah.
but it's going to be a woman, of course, and still like coveting gold and all that sort of stuff. So I'm excited to write that. That one, I'm just like pinning stuff all over the place that I see that inspires me, and I'm just like, oh, I can't wait. We got to get through this book I'm writing now, and then the point five for this book I'm writing now.
Yeah.
I kind of decided I'm just going to do a point five for every book in my Magic and
Mhm.
Malice series. Control myself. I just got all these ideas. Just if I had enough time, that would be
Yeah.
great.
So, do you find if you're like you've got a good idea that's bubbling for something else, does that hinder your writing of your current projects, or do you find you're able to sort of put one aside and know that you've written ideas and carry on with what you're sort of doing?
It can hinder me sometimes if I let it. So what I'll do is if I just can't focus, I'll stop what I'm doing and I'll write a chapter or
Hmm.
ideas, or I'll do like a board and pin all kinds of things. And I'll be like, okay, I've got my idea solid for this or for this scene or for whatever it is. And then I'll go back to it later. And if I keep bouncing back every now and then with an idea, that's fine. But I'm not good at going between two separate projects at the same
Hmm.
time. So I have to really focus hard. And I only have like 3 hours a night on my nights off, which is not that much. I
No.
work a full, so um, and then we work really, really long hours. So I only have maybe 12 days a month to write, 3 hours at
Okay.
night. I
Yeah.
just got to write.
It's hard, isn't it? I think I know for certain, like I get a whole day, I get one day off a week, and I use that for writing. But it takes a long time to get into the right mindset. I find sometimes into that sort of zone, and then sometimes that can take like an hour or more. And if you only have 3 hours, that must be a real challenge to get focused. Do you have like a way of sort of focusing yourself?
Well, I always make myself do my chores first. Like, you
Hmm.
know, I'm life, kids are in bed, shower, laundry. I can watch a show while I'm doing laundry, while I'm folding laundry. And then I give myself like incentives. Like, I don't let myself binge watch anything. I don't really have the attention span or time, anyways, but uh, it's a reward if I've hit my 2,000 word count or whatever the goal is for the night. I will let myself watch an episode of this show I'm dying to watch. So
Hmm.
um, that usually works. And then I have like a physical calendar where I know I've reverse engineered the end of my time, and I know how many words I need to get every day that I'm off. And then if I can get any writing done on work days before I go to work, then that's like an added bonus.
Hmm.
So I hold myself accountable and write down like every night, like tonight I got this word count and here's where I am. And then I'll reassess every few weeks to see if I'm staying on track. But
So
a
are
lot.
you sort of like it sounds like you're busy, but it sounds like you've got it sorted. Do you find you're a plotter, or I know I started off fairly like loose with writing my plots, and then I think writing crime, you have to be much more sort of planned. Do you find that you're a plotter, or you just sort of like let the characters kind of take you?
I'm definitely a pantser. Definitely, like, I know where we want to end up for the
Hmm.
most part, and I know where I'm starting. So I'll usually have the ending, like a couple paragraphs for the ending, and then I'll usually have like the beginning, and it just goes.
Yeah.
Like, it's out of hand sometimes, and sometimes I need to like step back, and I'm like, okay, this is getting crazy. How do we need to get from point A to point B to point
Yeah.
C? And I'll write down ideas for that. Like right now, I got all these questions. I read through my book or what I've written so far, and I was like, as a reader, what would I be asking right now at this point in the book? And I wrote down those questions and I'm answering them in a separate document to try to
Hmm.
like focus on, because romantasy and fantasy, they want more detail,
Yeah.
and that's different for me since I've only written, one and a half romantasy books, and trying to be more detailed with this one. So
Yeah, I find you have to have all the like almost the history of the world you've created in your head. Even if you don't have to write all those things down, you still have to kind of know it or work out the magic system or you kind of still have to have it, don't you? Whether you specifically write about that or not. Yeah, the world building is a much bigger thing, I think. I do find that obviously I like writing fantasy. I do write fantasy and sci-fi, but when you're writing about the real world, although it has confines of the real world, it's easier because you can look up what something looks like, or did they have this in 1970? Nope, they didn't. That's fine. I won't. So I find it, yeah, easier in that respect. Do you find the same? Do you enjoy creating like with your fantasy novels like the whole world, or do you find the world building like a harder aspect?
it's definitely hard. I enjoy it. It's very, very hard though, like to keep the details straight, and I'm
Hmm.
really like continuity. So I have like a whole document spreadsheet with, this is what this character is described as, this is what their voice sounds like, these are some of the little things that they might say, like part
Yeah.
of their act or whatever. And then I have like details like that for the world too. This is on the north side of the continent, this is on this side of the continent, like, and I draw myself the most horrible map. And map designer, I sent her chicken scratch, and a child drew it, and she made this really pretty map out of it. And I was like, I don't know how you do this. This is terrible when I drew. But I do that and I'll refer back to that and adjust my map. I was doing that the other night, making myself crazy. I was like, this can't be on the south side of the island. It doesn't make sense. So I have to.
Excellent. It's hard keeping track, isn't it? Have you ever heard of Scrivener or
I
Scrivener?
have. Yeah.
That's quite, I've just found it, and it's quite useful in that it gives you like a whole set of documents that you within your manuscript that you can have like characters and location, and I've actually found that really help. I mean, I guess it's the same as your spreadsheets, that sort of thing, but it's all in one program. If that you can have it all up at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So it won't make
Quite
me
useful.
flip around.
Sometimes you feel like you need like three computers, don't you, just to have all the different
Yeah,
no
definitely.
worlds, maps. Yeah.
I'm like, my husband comes in, I write on my bed. He comes in and I'm like, notebooks spread out around me and wild eyes. And he's like, you good? I'm like, it's fine. This whole, I made a mistake. So I for other things to try that are like zero cost at the moment because that's where we're at budget wise. So it's a lot.
Yeah. So, how have you found self-publishing? Did you think about traditional publishing, or were you set on self-publishing?
I would like to be like what's it called, a hybrid. Um, I'm looking right now. I've been making like lists and looking at literary agents, and think I'm going to start querying literary agents for probably the Red series or for the Magic and Malice series. It's incredibly difficult to market. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not. I have time constraints. It's just me, and I've I found it um, sometimes daunting and like you think you're doing everything you can. You're doing the newsletters, the swap, the book funnel promos, and all that stuff, and then I'm one of those. I look at my reviews. I know I'm not supposed to, but I look at because I want to know what people are saying,
Mm-hmm.
and so I look at my reviews and I get like a bunch of bad ones, and I'm just like, this is the worst.
Yeah,
it,
demoralizing.
I'm not as thick skinned as I need to be, and I definitely at times will feel beat down, but then I try to
Mhm.
like turn that positive. Okay, what's the commonality that everybody's saying? Okay, you want this. Okay, I'm gonna work on that in the next one. I'm not gonna rewrite. I can't do it. I don't have the time. So I will just work on improving what they want in the next one. So I think that's what it is though. You just want to get better and better and better. But it's
Mhm.
incredibly not having a team to help anybody to help.
Yeah.
It's just me and my friend who she's an artist. She's very very good. Um, she used to be able to help me out with stuff, and she's so busy now and got her own thing going on that she can't help me. So, just me. That's the only hard part: marketing
Yeah.
and being a one person show.
Yeah, it's hard work. It can often feel like a lonely thing as well, I think, writing and authoring and yeah, because it is just you, isn't it? One man band type thing. So do you have sort of better readers, beta readers and things like that? Or was that your friend that was doing some of those things for you?
Yeah, she was a beta reader, and I have a couple other people that were, and I'm finding that people are not able to help me with their commitments, their
Hmm.
time. So I just do the best I can, and then if I have something that I think is questionable, she'll have time to like run through it for me and be like, maybe don't say it that way. Like, you may not find this particular word offensive, like a description of something said, but population of people may not like this particular word for a description of someone. And I
Hmm.
was like, think about that. So I appreciate having people who are not the same as me to give me like their perspective.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah.
I she will give me brutal honesty.
And that's what you need sometimes, isn't it? Like, and I know that I have a few friends that will read and various people, but actually the people that are the best are the other authors who read for me because they know kind of what they're looking for. And while readers are great, I know that my author friends will be like, "Yeah, this doesn't work." They'll actually say it like you need to hear it, won't they? So those are the best ones I find. But have you found that there is like an online author community? Have you been able to sort of tap into that?
Yeah, I'm probably in at least 10, 20 author groups. So I'll go in there and ask questions, read their stuff that other people have said. I have a reader group too, and I have depending on what I'm writing, people alpha read for me. I'll let them get a hold of
Mhm.
the book before it actually comes out. Like, hey, let me know what you think. If you have any ideas, feedback, anything at all, and that's been helpful. Like most of them have been like, for the most part, been able to read whatever if it fits their preference. Um, so, just all kinds of resources, reaching out to people all the time, asking stuff, and
Yeah, excellent. And has your husband read any of your books?
oh, he's not a reader.
No.
Oh, and he's extremely extremely shy. I don't know that he could read anything I write without blushing. I was like, can I listen to the audiobooks? I have two audiobooks, and he's like, I let him listen to like a little part when I was doing my own listen through before I published them, and
Mhm.
he turned so red, and I was just like, all right, I'll just keep this to myself. That's
Yeah.
really cute.
Oh, but is he still quite supportive of all you do and all your writing?
Oh yeah, yeah, he's very supportive, and oh, I'm so proud of you, blah blah blah, all that good stuff. He's real supportive, and he does, and I'll be like, I don't want to spend like I'm the breadwinner, so technically I don't have to ask him to spend my money, but I still like
Mhm.
to, run things over with him. Like, do you
Yeah.
think this is a good idea? Spending money on this, and he's just a go for it, do whatever makes you happy kind of person. And he's like, yeah, do it. Who cares? And I'm like, what if it's a waste of money? And he's like, so what? Just do it.
Excellent. You need those cheerleaders, don't you? Those people in your corner, especially
Mm-hmm.
when you know you've had a bad review or a rejection or whatever. It's yeah, those people to pick you up. So you said you did an audio book. Did you record it all yourself, or did you pay
No,
someone to do
I use Bridget and Jake Bordeaux. They did the first and third books in my Kink Club series. I skipped the second book because it's a side character. I didn't have like an intent to write more than just the first short one, and then people were like, I need more," and I was like, "Oh,
it?
okay, well, let me more." Um, but I had them do the first and third book because it's the same couple, and it turned out really well. That just came out in December, I believe. Yeah, so that's the only audiobooks I have thus far, and I paid out of pocket, so I could only afford them because they were short.
Mhm.
They're very expensive. Not really a good return on investment a majority of the time. Although I can't really complain. I'm very pleased hearing my words in their voices. They're so
Yeah.
talented.
Oh, excellent. So have you found that people want audiobooks? Has it been a popular thing?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, even me, I have read maybe four physical books in the past year. I pick up a book and my eyes are so tired, I'm instantly out. No matter how much I'm loving
Mhm.
this book, I am out. So I listened to like 70 audiobooks last year, commuting and cleaning the house and doing whatever. That was kind of like my reward for myself too. Like, oh, I can listen to my audiobook for an hour because I don't have anything to watch on TV after I get done writing my words. But yeah, a lot of my coworkers too, they are audiobook people for the
Mhm.
same reason. It's so hard. Your eyes are so tired. We stare at
Yeah.
computers all day, and
Yeah, no, I can understand that. I like listening to things when I'm like, yeah, like you say, doing jobs, doing housework. It makes it go quicker, doesn't it? If you can listen to something. And I still think it's still a bit like reading a book. It's still, doesn't make it any less. I know. I enjoy audiobooks or podcasts, all those sorts of things. So it's yeah, no, it's great. It's something I've not even really considered for any of my books. I don't think I feel any of that sounds awful. Any of them deserve it. Yeah. With the
I,
amount of like money that you have to invest, it's like I'll wait for the one that I think is really good and
mm-hmm. You can.
then do it.
Yeah, what it was, the royalty share thing with Audible, and then I was like, not that much to come out of pocket because they're so short, and Bridget
Mhm.
and Jake are affordable, and they have their own production company, so long as it doesn't have to go outside of them, it keeps your costs down even more. And I was like, you know what, let's just I will I booked them like almost a year in advance, and
Mhm.
I worked overtime, I did whatever I had to do to afford it, and I think it's worth it to own my own files. I could, if I was business minded, I would put them on
Mhm.
my website, sell them
Yeah.
separately, and don't have the time to figure out how to do that. That maybe one day.
Yeah, there's so many things, aren't there? It's like, yeah, like you said, the newsletters, the website, all those things, they just take up so much time. And I often think I'd rather be writing than on social media posting something or on Canva making something or writing a newsletter that I know five people will open and two people will read.
Like,
It's
you keep on
hard.
board though. Some days you're just like, ah, I just have to do it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. I love you guys. This is why I'm doing this.
Mhm. So do you have quite a few people, like a little fan base going on? I know you said you've been to an event and you sold quite a few books. Do
hmm
you have like people that sort of ask you for more books and things like that?
I have a few original diehards from my dark romance era. My reader group, I just opened it to whomever now, but it was initially just for my ARC readers. And that was probably about 25 people. That's about it. So I'm not really like way out there, but when I go to like, I went to this book event and it was local because I'm not traveling like super far. That can't happen.
Mhm.
Although I'm going to one in New Jersey in October. So that's my one. I've never been to New Jersey. It's like I've never been north one state north of me. Like I'm not a traveler. Is budget constraints,
Yeah.
children, jobs. Um, but I go to this book event and I had people coming up to me like hunting for me, like,
Oh,
oh, I your book. Oh, I was looking for you, and I had somebody that was like, "Can I take a picture with you?" I was like, "Oh my god, me? Who?
oh,
What?" That
that's
was really
amazing.
that was such a nice feeling. I was like, "Wow, this is awesome." Then I
That must
got,
have been a real buzz.
hmm?
That must have been a real buzz to have that. A real like boost.
It was so awesome. I was very happy. I was like, "This is the coolest thing ever." I got to do more of these. It was such a good event too. It was put together so well and
Hmm.
really focused on romance, and everybody knew what they were getting and had done the research. And there were people that flew from like out of state. I was like, "This is crazy! You came all the way to North for a book event. This is amazing!" It was so cool.
That's very cool. I find in the UK there doesn't seem to be many of those type of events. Like there's a few big ones that often not near me. So yeah, like you, I have kids, I've got work, I've got house stuff. It's and yeah, finance as well. It's not easy to travel 5 miles up 5 miles, 5 hours up the country for potentially not selling anything. So yeah, do you find where you are there's a lot of sort of local events for authors and things, or is it a tricky thing to find?
There's been a few more recently.
Hmm.
It's hard to get into the bigger ones that are more like traveling. The one that I just did was these some local authors. It was their first one, and they're both fairly newer authors too, and it was just so well done. Like
Hmm.
I don't even know how they did it that well on their first try, but it is difficult to find things that one I can afford and are like a short drive. I
Hmm.
can't. I fall asleep if I drive more than an hour and a half, 2 hours. It's a thing, so I try not to have to do that.
Yeah.
um, but there's been more with I'd say the past 3 years, 2 3 years. There's been a lot more book events. There's definitely a need for it around here. People want it. I live
Hmm.
in I'm in the capital city of our state in Raleigh, and it's a bigger city, so with the population, you think there would be like would have been more to begin with, and people are just
Hmm.
now catching. They're starting to do more things, and that's been really nice. Hopefully, I can get into a few more local things, so I don't have to travel.
Makes it easier. I think indie books are becoming more accepted, if that's the right word. I think I know when I self-published in 2017, it still was a little bit looked down upon. Whereas I think now it's changed a lot. A lot of people aren't going through traditional publishers because it's so hard and it takes so long and it's one in a million. And there are so many amazing books that are now indie published. It definitely feels like it's a much more accept. I don't know if that's the right word, but like it's not looked down on anymore. I don't think.
Yeah, I think a majority of the books I read are indie, and that's unintentional. It's just they're good. You
Mm.
know, there's there's very few that I read that are traditionally published. Almost everybody's indie though, because even the audiobooks, they're all indie.
Hmm.
Um, and there's a few that are like Katie Robert is indie. and hybrid, and I really enjoy her books. So, that the combination for me is like the goal. Um, Even though eh, I don't know if I would like somebody putting me on constraints, but maybe I need constraints and need more help. So that's the goal. We'll see what happens over the next year. I'm going to really push hard to try to get a literary agent and see how we can do that.
So are you planning with you said with the Red series, that's the one you're planning to try and
Yeah.
yeah.
Try to, and
Sorry,
if not, then, oh,
the
sorry.
audio keeps cutting out. No, sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do the Red series. And if not, then we'll go with whatever comes after that. I'll just keep querying until my fingers fall off and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I think sometimes the more books you have and the more you write, obviously I feel that you get better as you write, don't you? The more you sort
Mm-hmm.
of get feedback on all those things. But I know someone said that when you have a back catalogue, that's when you start to sort of get more sales and things because people buy one and then think, oh, I like that. I'll see what else they've done. And if you've got like 8 books, they may well buy a whole heap of them. And I guess well, literary agents seem to at the moment, when I was doing some querying, they want to know like how many books you've sold of other books you've got, how many like followers you've got, all those things. They kind of half want you to have done half the work already, which I feel is a bit of a cheat.
Yeah, I noticed that and I was like, well, I've done the best I can, so here's what I got, and that's all I can do. I'm pushing as hard as I can. So that, if it's not good enough, then they're not the right person, and that's fine.
But it's when they were asking how many books have you sold, you're like 100. Is that enough?
I've done like things I'm like, I don't even know.
No. So do I count the ones I sold in the book fair, or the ones that my friends bought, or the ones that...
The book giveaways. I feel like I gave away 20,000 copies of this one.
Yeah. Does that count?
How many are paid?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's hard, I think, and the rejections are also I find hard. I know you see people and they're like, I'm on 200 queries, and some are just no replies, some are like rejections, and it's hard. I can understand why people do self-publish. It's
Mm-hmm.
less demoralizing, I think. And yeah, like you said, there's so many amazing indie books out there. You wouldn't even know that there's a difference between some of them. I find I read a mixture of books, but some of the traditionally published books, you read them and you think, this is rubbish. Like, how did this get compared to some of these books that you read that are independent? And then you read some mainstream ones and you think, like, how are they reading this and thinking this is good? Like,
Yeah, I'll read books and I'll be like, man, this is a. So I tend to not. I try not to be like negative about other people's books because I find, and I rarely DNF a book because I find I can pull something out of each
mhm,
book, and I'm pretty picky about what I read anyways because time constraints. So I'll find I can pull something out of each book, just how an author like I learn from their writing, like how they
mhm.
built some their world or how they did an aha at the end or something. Like I'll be like, that's really clever. But I'll find that some traditionally published books, I'm like, this is good, but this book over here, I want people to know more about this book. Like why isn't everybody talking about this book instead?
Yeah,
Like, you know indies do such a good job. I think it's because they don't have anybody telling them what they can and can't do, and they just doing it all and just out there flying free. There's
yeah.
certain liberation to that.
Yeah, no, I completely understand that. I was with a small press publisher and I stepped away last year just because I wanted the control back of my work. I wanted to know whether the marketing things I were doing were actually working. I'd get like a
Mhm.
thing every 3 months and it'd be like, you sold 2 books. And it was like, right, so did anything I did actually work? Whereas if you've got it yourself, you can see, right, this marketing thing worked, this didn't, this. And actually, yeah, I think it was a good move for me personally. But yeah. So what do you think has been the hardest thing for your self-publishing journey? Or the hardest
Uh,
part?
I I think time is just the time is just so hard. I'm really hard on myself, and sometimes like life just gets all up in my calendar. Like we had RSV, we had hand, foot, and mouth hit the house, which I did not even know adults could get sick off of hand, foot, and mouth. I had no clue. my poor husband, we got it in October. I didn't get any symptoms other than like my skin felt like it was burning,
Hmm.
but kids were fine after like 2 days. I was like, all right, thanks God, plague. But my poor husband is still, his nails are falling off.
Oh,
Your nails fall off from hand, foot, and mouth as an adult. And I was like, this is crazy. It's still happening. And
oh.
that put us back quite a bit because we were all super contagious, so I couldn't even go to work, and everybody was sick, so I couldn't write. I had to like de-germ the house and take care of him, and he was quarantined in a separate room, and I'm sleeping on an air mattress, and it was crazy. So life getting in the way of the limited amount of time I have, and me not building in buffers for myself.
Hmm.
I think I do it to myself. I just don't foresee like, hey, we're gonna get sick definitely in January because it happens every year. I
Yeah.
forget, and then I don't build in that extra time in my calendar, and I'm like, oh no, now I have a graphic. I have an artist that I have to pay, and I haven't worked enough overtime. I have this cover designer I have to pay, and my map designer, and stuff like that. So that's the hard part is managing house full time, this budget, stuff like that.
Yeah. It's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah, trying to on top of everything else. Like, I love my books, somebody read it. And then right now it's really tough on, I usually make all my money on KU, and I was seeing my profits really increase. The Red Book,
Hmm.
like, she's been like 90% of my profit since she came out in, I think I put her out in August. And it's just been like a tenth of what I was making. And it's nothing. It's like, it's very small change. I have 12 books out, maybe 13, I can't remember. But it's such a small amount because I don't know how to market that well and don't have time to market that well. And now all the KU and
Or the
Amazon.
boycott stuff. Yeah.
And I mean, I understand it's people's money. They spend the money where they want to spend their money because I'm having to do the same and cut back.
Hmm.
So we can, as a country and as a community, pull ourselves out of what's happening and benefit the greater good of our population. That's been very difficult lately.
Yeah, it's been a hot topic. I've seen it a lot on social media and all those things, and a lot of discussion. Yeah, and I do understand, but it is quite detrimental, isn't it, to independent authors who that's where they get their money from because they can't afford to throw loads of money into, big marketing and all those type things. So yeah, my months have been lean as well. So I know the feeling. So do you find that you're quite a quick writer? I know you say you don't have a huge amount of time, but you seem quite sort of structured with how much you want to get done. Do you find it's like you can do a book in sort of a year, 6 months? What's your sort of time frame?
I'm pretty quick. Like if we don't have anything to interrupt me, I wrote A Taste of in 2 or 3 months.
Okay.
It's a hundred and something thousand words, and it took me. I underestimated my editing time. I was like, I can totally edit this in a couple days. It took edit. I probably should have sent her through another edit. I'm going to do that this time though. I learned that I maybe need to expand so on my writing and make things a little bit more floral, I guess.
Mhm.
Pretty words, lots more descriptions. So I'm going to do a couple extra edits this next time around, and just add and clean her up a bit. But I can write 120,000 word book in 2.5 to 3 months if it's uh, smaller. I wrote the point 0.5 to this one.
Mhm.
I wrote 2 months, but we also had an illness hit the house, so that took a little bit of time out. And then I'll schedule vacation time in. So I can write probably almost 2,000 words in maybe an hour and a half. So I can get about 4,000 in on a night if I really, really focus and have like a
Mhm.
direct path. Sometimes I have to sit and just like stare off into the ether and like Google what's another word for the bag they used to keep potatoes in back in the day, like the most random, what does a deer sound like, the most random things I'm Googling. And I keep a list of those too because I'm like, this is going to be hilarious to somebody one day. Maybe not everybody, but a nerd like me would find this so funny. The weird thing. like big Victorian shipping vessels. That's what I'm doing right now. This is so weird.
I always feel a bit worried when with writing crime about some of the things you have to Google. And I sometimes just put in, I'm writing a novel at the end of my search just in case. You never know.
How to get rid of water?
Yeah.
Oh, does time really work? Oh no. Yep.
You just never know. I think, oh, they're always watching. So, but yeah, no, it's great. So, where is it? What was I going to say? Yeah, so you've got the Red series out, and you've got just tell us quickly the names of the other series, just so people could find them.
Oh, sure. I have I Dare to Dream. It is a dark romance series. It's complete. It's my first. Um, that's the cover. I designed all the covers for that with help from my friend. And those are getting a redesign here when I can find some time, hopefully this year. That is dark romantic suspense, revenge plot, that sort of thing. It's that very heavy content. So then I have my Kink Club series. That's these three, the Den, the Edge, and the One. These are very, very spicy. And the Den and the One are on audio with Bridget and Jake Bordeaux duet narrating. And then I have two little baby shorts. I have Zephyr. This is set on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. It's like a domestic violence sort of escaping that Psycho X sort of thing. It's a little short one. Then I have Dr. D Head. This is my sassy older nurse, young cocky doctor. That one was just for fun. I was like, man, I got this idea, and I was like, this is gonna be hilarious. And my friend's like, she's like, some of your dialogue is so campy. I'm like, but it's hilarious, and I love that. So somebody else is gonna laugh, whatever.
Yeah.
And then this is the compilation for the three spicy ones. And then I have No Saint. This is my Dark Saint Nick and Krampus retell, and that one's quite spicy as well. Almost all my books have queer rep in some fashion, except for these two. Zephyr and Dr. D Head are my only hetero books with no queer rep, but all my other ones have queer rep, all kinds. So that's
Excellent.
it.
So do you have a favorite out of all your books that you've written so far?
Red is my favorite. That
Mm-hmm.
one, I loved it so much, and I really worked on like the plot twist, the aha, and some of the reviews I read, they were like, I didn't see the twist coming. I'm like, yes,
What you want?
finally, somebody didn't see it coming. That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. And then the Kink Club stories were really, really fun to write. I enjoyed those. They're just spicy, naughty garbage. So
Yeah, no, I think you've got to enjoy what you write. Otherwise, what's the point of writing it? I think I would hate to have to fit in with popular genre or, what's the hot thing at the moment if it's not what I enjoy writing. It sucks the
yeah,
joy from it.
exactly. Like I'm not a huge fan of firearms, so I don't think I have firearms in any of my books, and if I do, it's very brief. I try not to have that sort of thing in my book. It's not my thing. We use other weapons instead. So the one I'm writing blue now. She's lots of swords and horseback and archery, and that's really fun. So
Hmm. No, it sounds brilliant. It sounds excellent. So, where can we get your books? Where is the best place to buy them?
I'm on Kindle Unlimited and Amazon. I have very limited stock. I do have a website, stephanieleebooks.com, and I have a little order thing up there through Baventi. There's a link to my site. I have very limited books though, so I've never actually had anybody order from me directly, but they could. I can only ship within the continental US right now.
Hmm. And
But
are they all on Amazon as well?
yeah, everything's on Amazon.
Super. Excellent. And your newsletter, you said a newsletter. Do you have like a sign up where people can, is it on your website, the sign up?
Yep, it's on the front page of my website, stephanieleebooks.com. My newsletter comes out every 2 weeks. Unless there's weird weeks like this month. But yeah, at least two a month, and I'll have all kinds of other book promos and things on there and little hints about what's coming up in my book.
Super. Excellent. That's great. Well, it's been so great to chat, and I've loved hearing about all your books. Is there anything else that you would like to add before we finish?
I just think it's really important for me to like support local authors, support your libraries, and be kind to each other. Like that's what's most important right now. I think we all just need a little bit of kindness and understanding and
Mhm.
compassion. I would really appreciate any support anybody could give me.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Stephanie Lee. It's been great to chat, and hopefully we'll speak to you again soon.
Thank you so
All right.
much.
No
Bye bye.
problem. Bye bye.